Ah, sí, del Rinpoche.
Dashi Dele Rinpoche.
I'm in South India, where my mother still lives. Um, yeah. Few days ago, I was in Bodh Gaya. um, some of you may have seen some videos on Instagram and also on YouTube. One thing that bothered me was how small the number of the Western Sangha was in Bodh Gaya, and how little emphasis it is given maybe by us Tibetan Lamas and Western Lamas on the importance of going and visiting these places. In the sutras, it is advised that, can you hear my voice clearly? I have the fan on. I hope you can. In the sutras, it is advised that a follower of Buddha should try to go to 4 places once in their life. The birthplace of the Buddha, where he was born, where the Buddha gained awakening, and where the Buddha turned the first wheel of Dharma, and where the Buddha passed away. These 4 places are considered more sacred, I think, by Buddha himself as the suggestions to the future follower of Buddha Dharma. So, yeah, it you can see practitioners from all over the world, except a very little number of Westerners. Mm, Dharma practice many times Dharma practice is not necessarily sitting and meditating or reciting, but sometimes it's just walking towards the direction of a Buddha or Bodhisattva or a teacher. Just traveling, just going and reaching some place that reminds you of an awakened being. Uh, this is such a big part of practice. Actually, in all religions, in all traditions, like you see how the Muslims try to go to Hajj, how the Jewish Christians, they have their own sacred sites that they really try to get there. Hindus have that right now. They have Kumbh Mela still going on. Uh, these are quite important parts of our culture, tradition, and identity. When we do these things, it's not just, it's like prostration. It's not just a tradition or culture to do, but it's so symbolic also. It has so much meaning. It's something that can only be felt. And of course, it's not always going to be pleasant. And you find out a lot of flaws about yourself, and you'll also see good things about yourself and others. Mm, especially a place like Bodh Gaya, where you will see uh, hundreds of other devotees like yourself practicing, making prostration, meditating, or offering water, uh, flowers, waiting for hours under the Bodhi tree so some leaves will fall down so they can take themselves. All of these are very, from one side you think it's very physical, but it carries so much weight and it is quite memorable. One might not even realize how memorable it is going to be, but it really truly is. And from one hand, I feel like Westerners are so spoiled by the lamas and the centers. Everything has to be organized for you. You have to be told where to go, what to do, sit here, do this, do that, now go home. It's like that. It's almost you cannot think for yourself. All of Western Sangha, sometimes I feel like that. And even if they want to go to pilgrimage, they will go to Nepal. I don't think it's mainly for pilgrimage because Nepal is nicer. Nepal, beautiful mountain. But still, it's praiseworthy. I still praise it. But our origin started from that land. Uh, just Siddhartha Gautama as a prince is not our origin. That so we don't really other tradition. They will the most important place will be where their god or prophet or saint is born. That's so important for them. For us, it's not really. Lumbini is important, but not that important. Lumbini is where Buddha was born. It's good, but not that. Most important is Bodh Gaya, place where he found wisdom. And uh, you should you shouldn't need to be told to go to Bodh Gaya sometimes, or at least aspire to go. Not always wait for some sort of menlam where there's going to be some teacher. You know, what do you need teacher for? It's Bodh Gaya. It's the place where Buddha gained awakening. You just go there, you look what's going on, you go home, make a bit of offering of flower. Some people will try to cheat you and let some money go here and there. It's okay. Or don't let, you know. Uh, and then there will be many people who you will see are sincerely practicing. And that's also very encouraging. There are people who go to Bodh Gaya every year, and every year they do um, their Mondo practices. Some have done prostrations 40, 100,000 times, like that. That's what, 4 million times, And nevertheless, it's to know where you come from and your spiritual beliefs, practices, the root is so important. Uh, that I would like to encourage if you in this year or next year, or you should think like that. Before I die, I must go to Bodh Gaya once, and even after I die, a piece of me, a bit of my ash must reach Bodh Gaya. You should think like that. You should ask your family, if I die, please take a bit of my ash and scatter it in Bodh Gaya, the, near the temple. Or what Tibetans sometimes do is we make tatsas out of ashes. It's a little stupas, and then we put one of those in places like Bodh Gaya. Uh, well, right now we're reading Letter to a Friend, Surita Lekha of Nagarjuna. And in the last sessions, we went through a discussion of who Nagarjuna was, what kind of being. Nagarjuna is so exceptional. It's difficult to believe that he was who uh, we believe and are taught who he is. If you look into the Wikipedia, just type in Nagarjuna. Already there, you will find so many doubts about the people who put their doubts. The Western academics cannot accept Nagarjuna as we believe. They think that writings of Nagarjuna, many are attributed to him, cannot be. One person have so much. And also some of writings of Nagarjuna have centuries in between them. So we have no problem. We believe he lived for 600 years. We believe Guru Rinpoche lived for 1,500, 600 years on this earth before going to somewhere else. It's not a problem for us. Very um, charismatic character, Nagarjuna, who have left his mark in poetry, art, storytelling, spirituality, most importantly, the teaching of anathema, selflessness. Also, definitely in Vajrayana, he is also lineage guru of many different tantras, many different pit instructions. So, this is one of his quite well known writing, but um, one that is usually treated as his general advice, sort of one of his general advices about general practices, because it was given to a lay practitioner. Um, about Nagarjuna, in terms of tantric point of view, Nagarjuna's is one text is one storybook, I should say, storybook, or uh, one almost like a uh, is it a genre or is it a storybook? I don't know, or it's types of stories where uh, a young man is asked by his guru to go and find a zombie, a very special zombie from a charnel ground, and to bring it back to him. Zombies are considered very special substance in Vajrayana in some practices, I think. Anyway, uh, in India, we still have near Bodh Gaya, there is still this place and the tree from which the zombie is supposed to hang every day, and then the king has to climb the tree and bring. That king is supposedly this king for whom this text was written. So, uh, for general populace, they were good friends. Uh, Nagarjuna was his teacher, the king was his student, and also had very good friendly relations. And of course, in a secret Vajrayana, they were guru and student. These are quite general advices and also quite unique, I think. Probably one of the first Buddhist teacher to ever write a text like this that is meant for a lay practitioner. Of course, Siddhartha Gautama himself, he gave teachings to kings uh, who tells the Buddha, I do not have a lot of time, but then what do I do? How do I practice? And the Buddha says, just make aspiration day and night, aspire for awakening, full awakening, and to liberate all sentient beings. And that is already your practice. And if you do that, you will not be neglecting your kingly duty, your kingdom, worldly duties, and also you will be progressing on the path. So, like that, of course, Siddhartha Gautama has done that. And after that, a very well-known sort of text that to come out that is an advice specifically for lay practitioner. And I think this is probably the first. So I believe we finished until this fifth stanza, so we start with the sixth. Longju yo ningbo meche ne gyamon thamse te deshe damla. Jimba tsojin tsalji parol du jinle shimbi nyecho machi sos. Do you have an English version of this? Please read the text. Does somebody have the English of this text? Okay. I guess not then. So all of you are listening to the Spanish translation. Okay. Uh, no, there are some of you who do not understand Spanish. So you must need English translation.
Rinpoche, I think the English translation everybody can download from the website.
Oh, center's website.
Yeah, but I sent to you. Do you need it?
Yes, please send it in the chat so I can
I send in
look
the
at
chat.
it.
I will share in the chat. Okay, give me one moment.
Thank you. I cannot find it anymore.
Sorry, I sent to your phone, to your WhatsApp.
Oh, please send it to the chat here. Anyway, while we're waiting for the text, I will go into the Tibetan. Longju yo ningbo mechen is knowing that or understanding. He's talking to the king, understanding that wealth is fleeting. Yoa is means wealth is not stable. And without true essence. This is so beautiful because Nagarjuna wants to encourage the king to to start giving, to be generous. But he doesn't want the king to give. Firstly, he doesn't want the king to have miserliness. So before saying you should give, he says, knowing that wealth is illusory or without essence, impermanent. What it will do when you contemplate on the impermanence of the wealth is that from one side, it decreases your own attachment to it. And that allows you to be generous. That allows you to actually be able to give to others. On the other hand, what it does is that it decreases your expectation of result. The internet is so bad that it will not even load the copy that you're sending me, but it's okay. If everyone has the text, then it's fine. I don't need to read it. Knowing, he says, is knowing that wealth is fleeting and impermanent without essence, then you should give. Gelong tamzeten da shen namna jimba tuji tsal ki parul du jin le shen du nyen shoma chi sos. For a lay practitioner, one of the first practices a lay practitioner can do is generosity. For monks and nuns, generosity, of course, when you talk about 6 paramitas, generosity comes first. But the kind of generosity for monks and nuns is generosity of maybe dharma, generosity of aspiration, or generosity of visualization, like Shantideva does. But for someone like a king who have wealth, immense wealth, they can actually feed people, give actual substance to others. So he talks about that. But then Nagarjuna also tries to make sure that the king doesn't give with the expectation of a big result or with attachment to wealth. So he first says, no, please know that wealth is fleeting and then you should give. You should give to these different people, different beings. Saying so in order to make some essence out of this essenceless wealth, you should give to monks and Brahmins who have so much qualities. I guess the reason why Brahmin is mentioned here is, although the king may be Buddhist, but in the kingdom, there are many Buddhists and non-Buddhists. And for the Buddhists, it is the monks and nuns, this ordained Sangha. And non-Buddhists is Brahmins, these priests, basically, not necessarily Brahmin as a race. I think here it's understood to be understood like a priest or a spiritual teachers. And then there are, so generosity is, you have these differentiations of generosity. One is generosity, object of generosity who we should make offering to because of their qualities and their kindness to us. And object of generosity, field of generosity, We make generous, we give them things because of their suffering and how much they're suffering. So here, Temba, and not only that, those who are suffering of hunger and sickness, and also, and then, oh yeah, and then also our teachers and our parents and our friends. One should give. One should give in a way that it becomes a paramita of giving. So Nagarjuna says, you think the wealth is your true, people think the wealth is their true friend, but in reality, the true friend is the generosity. Wealth is not our true friend. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold, so I seem to be losing my voice slowly. Then Choji tsutim anyam mema made mababa da temperate timni juda miju sashindo yundi kundi shiten or songs. That the next stanza where the Nagarjuna says, and on the next he talks about discipline. Stanza number 7. You should practice morality which is unimpaired, blameless, not mixed and unsullied. For morality is said to be the foundation of all virtues, just as the earth is the support of both the moving and the unmoving. Okay. Then here, this morality is, I guess, the translation of discipline. Shila. Shila. Shila is, this is another headache of translating this. There's not a lot of good translation for this. So you have sometimes discipline, some people saying
Ça sera
morality,
peut-être pas
some,
avant nous.
some people saying
Pas avant nous.
ethical.
J'ai fait chauffer le repas. Merci.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Apologies. It's a very easy text. Just understanding the text is not a difficult task for you. Where he says, should practice morality. You should have discipline. Now, he's not talking about a discipline of a monk or a nun, but most possibly a discipline of a lay practitioner, definitely bodhicitta. And It will come later. Discipline of taking vows of, just I don't know how it is translated, or vows of upasaka too. These are all disciplines. So it says you should have a discipline that is unimpaired, manyamba. Manyamba, unimpaired, meaning it is um, you have not transgressed against it. You have not broken your vow. So whatever it may be, it could be you're taking refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, and then it could be you taking the Panchashila, the 5 disciplines of not drinking, not killing, not lying, not stealing, and no sexual misconduct. The thing is that in Buddha Dharma, recently Khyentse Rinpoche was telling us during a dinner that almost all religious traditions view, especially the religious tradition that comes out, that originates outside India, they view the act of the physical act, the sexual act itself, as something bad and dirty and sinful. Whereas in Buddha Dharma, that's not the case. They, uh, what do you call it? Infidelity, that one is considered bad. Like when you sexual misconduct is considered bad, not the sexual conduct itself. So here too you have that. Anyway, so if you do not go against it, you have an unimpaired discipline. Then a blameless one. Now the next one is manyam mima. Then, so in the commentary of Rongten, he says, Yana the chashele mima, but it's not that much difference. Basically, yes, blameless. Manyamba is if you do one of the root downfalls, then the discipline is impaired. But you may keep the root ones, but you still go against the minor discipline. You still are to be blamed. So blameless. And not mixed or unmixed. Madhip, unmixed, he says, keeping the discipline unmixed with a negative intention. Now, this is very difficult, and this is something needed. Many times it could be that someone is keeping discipline mixed with a greed. Someone is keeping discipline mixed with fear. Let's say, somebody becoming a monk or a nun, and mostly monk, because if you become a monk, if you wear the monk's robe, then you can be the lama, you can be the sort of the head of a monastery or village or whatever like that. Devadatta, one of the cousin of Buddha, he becomes monk. He takes the discipline, mixed discipline, because mixed with negative thoughts. He wanted to be the king. When Buddha came back to his childhood sort of land, kingdom, as now a fully awakened being, because he had made promise to his father that I'm going to go for enlightenment, and once I find enlightenment, I will come back and give teaching here in my own land. in my own kingdom. So when Buddha came back, it was somewhat miraculous. Even his appearance and even the way he walked, it was so inspiring. Yet his father saw that most of the monks were not so good looking. So he wanted good looking monks for his son. So he orders 500 Shakta men, 500 family to give 500 sons to become monk. So also inspired the king of the Shakta, Mahanama, I think that's him, or I forgot his name. Anyway, they want to be also become monk. And now the problem was, if all of the Shakta men become monk, Devadatta, who wants to be a king, who wants to be the king, nobody can stop him. So they needed to take care of him first. So they go to him and sort of tells him like, you be the king now, we're going to be monks. So Devadatta is thinking, why are they pressing that I be the king? Something like that. Why are they trying to be monk? There must be something else. Now Siddhartha become a monk, become Buddha, called Buddha, and everybody respect him. Now they all become monk. So I will be left behind, he thought. And so he insists, no, I will be a monk. So he becomes a monk. Once he becomes a monk, everybody is relaxed, no problem now. We can become monk too. So Devadatta became monk with mixed. He took discipline with mixed with the worldly views, but not like that unmixed. And then unsullied. These are very, very small differences. But in the commentaries you have unsullied, meaning becoming monk or taking upasaka vows or refuge vows, bodhicitta vows, hoping for a result in this life or in next life, like a material result or some samsaric result. So not like that. The last two lines of this stanza, Timni Juda Miju Sashindu, in the Kunji Shite Laparsons is probably one of the most lines in the tradition, but it says Timnis. Discipline is the basis of all qualities. Just as the earth is the base, the support of everything that moves or does not move. So those who move means beings, sentient beings, and those who do not move is like a mountain and a rock and a tree. Just as all of this, all of us depend upon this earth. Similarly, the discipline, all qualities depend upon discipline. Jinda sutum sutun samden na teji sharap sharmi parulchin teda jize sipi jasoi parulchin ba jawe wampu zes. Stanza number 8. Increase the measureless perfections of giving, morality, patience, effort, concentration, and wisdom, and thus become the Lord of conquerors who have reached the further shore of the ocean of existence. Now, instructing the king to follow the Mahayana teaching. Right now, he's giving short instruction, and then that short instruction, then from the next stanza, he will elaborate on his worldly advice, advice on general practice, and advice on Mahayana practice. So paramitas, the 6 paramitas you should practice, he says. So what are the 6 paramitas? Is for example, the generosity. Generosity itself may look the same, giving someone one object or wishing to give someone something. That could be a worldly generosity. That could be a paramita. That could be somewhat in between, or or none. The actions may seem like the same, but here then what makes it paramita is, in case of Vezo Bodhisattva, willingness to give everything with the result of merit to all beings. That is paramita of generosity. And then here, willing to give with bodhicitta and wisdom. So with compassion and wisdom. Wisdom in the sense that not being attached to the giver, not having this perception of the giver, the person to give, and the act of giving, or the object that is being given, like that. Korsul, not having this kind of strong obsession with these 3. Anyway, so and this you can understand all the rest of the paramitas, that it should go together with compassion and wisdom of emptiness. And with these 2, any practice that you do become paramita. And that is the 6 paramitas, this Nagarjuna. And if you practice the 6 paramitas, you will become, the result will be that you will become the Lord. Also, you will become the ultimate king. So for the king, right now you are the king of one land, but if you practice 6 paramitas, you will become the king of samsara and nirvana both. Now, elaborate instruction to the king. And the first comes, how to say, general advices. Quand la padama da chujibe, rig de sancho lube jebanla, te dala chuta barjurbatan, le malaya thori jurbalas. The race or the caste of one who worships father and mother is in company of Brahma and that of preceptors. Through revering them, one will win fame and later will attain the higher status. So, first is to have respect towards elders, towards one's parents. One who is generous towards, one who is respectful, makes offering to one's own parents, one's own elders, is someone who is protected by the gods, is someone who is accepted by the teachers, he says. This is in a general advices where of course, in all the theistic tradition, you have God and demon, good and evil. So this understanding is quite universal, where if we sort of humans do more and more bad, it influences the battle between good and evil. and the evil wins, and the good become weak, like the God become weak, and like that. That is very general understanding. So these two here very similar also in Buddha Dharma is when beings, humans, are disrespectful, harm others, especially harm one who have done everything for us. So that's the worst thing. And that creates more negativity. More negativity poisons everything. It poisons the land, soil, earth, the water, air, everything. And that in turn makes the celestial beings who have become celestial beings by practicing virtue, who has become gods and goddesses by being good, by being kind, who are gentle in nature and who are helpful in nature, it harms them. They cannot come close to us, even though they want to, and 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 we become an easy vessel, easy target of those who wants to harm us. It's very easy for them, like asuras, uh, you know, uh, uh, beings that are sort of just looking to harm. Uh, just as in our world, just as in one country, you have people who just want to harm, who are just greedy, and you have people who are honest and good and who wants to help. And so if you go on a wrong path, you are automatically, naturally going to side with one who brings harm. And that side is going to become stronger. So it's quite natural, actually. It's nothing supernatural about it. So here he says, then, so naturally, the gods, they like it. The Brahma, they like when someone is being virtuous, because through virtue, you're going to be born there, and their number is going to increase, and they become stronger. So they like it. And so they protect you. Someone who have respect for their parents and serve their parents are protected by the Brahmas and the gods. And they are also protected by the teachers, acharyas, our teachers. Um, one who knows how to respect their parents will also respect others. So that's quite natural. And not only that, someone who respects their own parents will also gain a lot of fame. Is this? Um, even in the Western world, where we think, oh, in the Western world, people don't really respect so much their parents. This is what even the Westerners say, that, oh, that's an Asian thing. Even my own daughter told me that when I told her, oh, you should never speak back to your parents like that. And she said, oh, that's for you, it's you Tibetan things. This is how maybe in Tibet, but not here. She's 9 years old. So this is how people think, like, oh, in the West, we don't respect our parents so much. But I think if a son or a daughter, let's say, becomes very wealthy and gives a huge share of their wealth to their parents, I don't think anybody will say, why is that person being so stupid? Why is that person doing that? Everybody will praise that person. So we do know that that's how it should be. People do know that it's not an alien concept for Westerners, actually. I don't know why people behave like that. And you know that if there is son and daughter who even sacrifice their own gain, uh, you know, life in order to serve their parents who are sick for a year, for a month, for 2 years, 3 years, they will only get praise from other Westerners. Nobody will say, why is that person ruining their life? most will praise. So this is actually not a, it's quite universal actually. So anyway, here he says you will gain those who serve their own parents will gain a lot of how to say, will be known, will be praised, and in next life too they will gain higher rebirth. Tētā chūngu tīkpa dhūnda nī chāngda tīmi sēla chāpa tā māldīn tōla gātā lūtā tā kārdā tēngwē kēpa nā pōngshīng. Dā chūm sūtum jēsu chēpa yānā jīpo tētā tāndē nā sōchōng dōchū lāli īhōngwa chēpa pūmē tāla tsō war chīs. So then the next one is called Nyine. The translation it says observe continence. So now these are like almost like now we cannot become like monks. For monks, these are always not allowed. For monks and nuns, ordained sangha. Now we cannot do what the ordained sangha can do. So most of the way we live, if we really analyze, it will be very difficult to get a good rebirth, especially a human rebirth. And so we practice a semblance of the ordained, semblance of what ordained sangha practice. So these are vows that you take on special days, full moon, new moon, or maybe a day when something important has happened, parinirvana of your gurus and so on. Forsake this 10th and 11th. Forsake harming, theft and robbery, sexual misconduct, lying, alcohol, attachment to food at improper times, enjoyment of high seats and beds, and all kinds of songs, dances, and gardens. If you possess these 8 features, which follows an arhat's morality, then you abide in the restoration and purification, and you will bestow on men and women the pleasant form of the gods of the desired realm. So this now, since now he's talking to a king, so he suggests to the king to take these 8 vows that is not only for his own sake, but also to urge his what do you call it, people, his subjects, to take these vows. Because if you do that, then you will not, you are a king. Your job is your work is to protect beings in your kingdom, and that is how you protect them from falling into lower realms, and that is how you give them a rebirth, good rebirth in next life. And they are sojong. So first is the killing. You must abandon killing. You must abandon stealing. Or let's say, if I take the vow now and I say until tomorrow's sunrise, it's that simple. It doesn't have to be very difficult. And for 1 week, or for 2 days, for 3 days, or 1 month, or I can take a vow saying every full moon, from the morning of every full moon till the morning of the next day, I will not do this. And so every full moon you have to remember your vow awakens, so to speak. It starts. or you can take for only 1 day also. I remember my great grandmother, she had taken it every full moon and new moon. She will observe this throughout her life. So what is it? No stealing, yes. And then no sexual misconduct. Sexual misconduct is very vast. People think sexual misconduct is, oh, you can have sex with your partner, that's okay. But if you do sex with other people, then that's misconduct. Yes, that's sexual misconduct. But even with your partner, there are variations, like to engage in sexual action uh, in a temple, for example, that's sexual misconduct. To engage in a sexual, how to say, uh, or, or or like uh, when the person is sick, when person is ill and not wanting, or like or if it's a woman and you're a man, if the woman is is on her period time, that's also sexual misconduct. So like this is sexual misconduct is very vast. But anyway, these are the kind of discipline. And then the next, lying, lying, general lying, and also lying to be a practitioner, to be a realized being or whatnot, or generally lying is also included, I think. And then alcohol, intoxicant. Now here it's only alcohol written, but I think uh, mm, some people would argue, oh, alcohol is bad. Yes, but then you can do marijuana, you can do the other drugs, you can do what is that people do? What is that? They vomit a lot. Ayahuasca. Oh gosh, I got into trouble once where a monk was insisting you can do ayahuasca. It's okay. And I said, I don't think you can do ayahuasca while you're a monk. And so him and I got into the argument. He said, alcohol is not allowed by Buddha, but ayahuasca is not a problem. And I said, that's anything that intoxicates you is not allowed. Alcohol is mentioned because that's what it was used at that time in India. But any other thing? And so we got into argument, what is intoxication? What is meant by intoxication? You know, uh, and then it becomes very difficult, very strange. What is intoxication? So I would suggest if you take a vow, then not to do anything. Like let's say you take a vow of one night. This is what you do, by the way, when you do nyungne. When you're doing nyungne, you're taking these vows. Then just don't do, just stay away from mushrooms and everything. Because when in doubt, don't do it. That's the best solution usually. Then the next is then eating untimely. So when you take inyane, Buddha supposedly have said, I think he have said, not just supposedly, I've read that also based upon Indian sort of medicine, the food that really nourishes the body, that is needed, when the body is most receptive is during morning time. Our bodies, after a good night's sleep, and what is it? The body is ready to receive the food in the morning. So until noon, you eat. And after noon, you do not eat. After noon, until tomorrow morning. And it has so many qualities. One of the qualities, you do not become sleepy. Why do you think the Spanish people must do siesta after eating? Because after eating, all of your energy is spent on your stomach crushing the food, and you get sleepy. How come people don't sleep? People don't sleep before eating and then eat. It doesn't make sense. After eating, you get sleepy and tired. So this is advised, especially for practitioners, for meditators. You actually, if you can do that, a lot of your sleep problem will be gone. When you're sleepy, you cannot practice. You can neither practice, you can neither do other things. It's just a waste of time. You think, oh, my body needs it. Yes, your body needs it because your body is too tired digesting the food. So this is not eating untimely. Then the other is sitting on a high seat and a high chairs and so on. Now, this is a bit. It's a bit to do with pride. So, but it's not like Westerners don't have this. You might think, oh, this may be Asian thing, but not recently, a few years ago, there used to be this TV show that I used to watch. It's called The Big Bang Theory. And now many of you probably watched it too. And it's about a bunch of Americans and youngsters, scientists. One of them is an Indian man. And in many of the shows, as shows this kind of sitcom, you must many times they show you people eating because what are you supposed to do? And so you just eat because eating seems the most normal for everybody in the world. So they're eating all the time, sitting on the sofa, eating and talking and eating and talking, sitting in the cafeteria, eating, talking. So many times when they're sitting on the sofa, the Indian man is sitting on the floor. And afterwards, people made sarcastic comments about it, saying, look, even in the shows, the Indian man is sitting on the ground. So I think it's universal that whoever sits higher is a bigger person or whatever. So not doing that. And also not singing and dancing, not during this time. And not wearing ornaments, perfumes, or this kind of, not to beautify yourself, because it increases your attachment and pride. Anyway, so these things you do for a day and a night, so 24 hours. What will happen is that you are now following the discipline of an arhat. And that kind of practice will purify your negative karma. And of course, in your next life, you will gain human rebirth. When we talk about a precious human rebirth, we talk about the cause of precious human rebirth, but it's never really clear what is meant by that. The cause of precious human rebirth Yeah, many times it's not clear what is meant by that. For example, the cause of precious human rebirth we are told is abandoning 10 virtuous actions and practicing 10 non-virtuous actions. For how long? For how long are we supposed to do it? See, it's not clear. So something like this makes it clear. Even for 24 hours, if you do that, abandon 10 non-virtuous and adopt the 10 virtuous, you will gain human rebirth in your next life, even if you only do this for 24 hours, a day and a night. And then there are many stories about these kind of things. Sena yuju chakda nyumle tangs. Sena yuju chakda nyumle tang ngombe ngalje do chashidang do rigdang sukdang tepa langso tang. Pangta chewe jakpa dashin 6. 12. Look upon these as enemies: miserliness, cunning, deceit, attachment, laziness, pride, sexual attachment, hatred, and arrogance of caste, form, learning, youth, and the pride of great power. I don't think I need to explain these things now. Miserliness means not wanting to give, not wanting to let go of your wealth. Cunning here, is yoju. It's like trying to hide one's fault, one's mistake is what is translated as cunning here. And then teaching or saying things to deceive others is the deceit. And then attachment is easy. Laziness is easy. Manifest pride. I don't know what that even means, manifest pride. I know okay. Manifest pride, it's just, what it means is, Ngombing Ajal means being proud of something that you do not have. That's what it means. Like thinking, even though I do not possess great qualities, but if I think I am so great, I have a great quality, that is called Ngombe Ajal. It is a pride. I'm not trying to deceive anybody. I'm not trying to, it's just I have this pride. Now, pride can be being proud of something you have, but this one is being proud of something you don't have, thinking that you have. That's what Ngombing means. And then the attachment to, sexual attachment, hatred, and arrogance of caste. Arrogance of caste is also it's also there. Yes, definitely. For why do you think the whole world is in turmoil because of Israel and Palestine? It's a problem with my people, their people. this arrogance of caste. They think that it's one side thinks the other side is lowlier. Well, in this case, people are okay with Palestinians, children, entire family bombed to bits. That or something like racism. That's what it is. Arrogance of caste is nothing but being racist. And that the whole world thinks only Indians have caste system. It's not true. The West also has caste system. It is color of your skin. It is your name. It is due to your language. Yes, it's true. No, so that's what it means. Arrogance of caste. Now, form, learning, youth, and pride of grace. This is easy. So not to have these. Then being mindful, heedful is 바에 늦을래데 밤에 버치에 내도 투베 까살도 대외초지 게치 펠레도 그베 따도 밤나 제버 just being mindful or being careful. The sage said that heedfulness is the source of the nectar and heedlessness is the source of death. Hence, to increase your virtue with respect, always remain heedful. Heedful meaning mindful, being careful. Something very similar was said by Kabir. Kabir is a very unique, probably one of the most unique spiritual figure of this world, Kabir. He was found by a farmer in the field. He was abandoned by his mother or parents in the field. So that's how he was found. And the parents were not sure is this boy Hindu or Muslim. So he learned both, and he became teacher of both Hindu and Muslim alike. But many of his teachings is so close to Buddhism. It's very interesting. So Kabir says exactly very similar thing, being heedful, being mindful. Anyway, here, being mindful is the source of the nectar. Yes. Everything or anything that comes with a lot of danger, that comes with a lot of reward and risk, you have to be mindful. Why are we careful while driving? It is an immense risk and reward. When I doubt before the invention of cars and chariots, do you think people die by bumping into each other, accidents? I doubt it. Never. If it ever happened, maybe they were carrying a big load and something fell on someone else, something like that. But then you spend your whole life in a small place. You cannot do a lot. Now we have cars that can take us to places that would take us months to walk within a day, weeks and months to walk within a day. So it's an immense reward, but then there is immense risk too. Now you can easily kill yourself and kill many, many, many people with a slight heedlessness, carelessness. So similarly, and it comes to mind and karma, it's a huge risk and reward. So here it says, those who are careful, this carefulness is the source of nectar, What does nectar do? Nectar gives you deathlessness. So this is deathlessness then here refers to unimpeded, uninterrupted practice, and then ultimately the wisdom of reality. That is the real deathlessness. If there is some, if you can almost say that the Buddha, state of Buddha is a state of immortality. So you can say like that because it's beyond death, beyond life and death and birth and coming and going. So that all that comes from being mindful, he says, being aware. And unawareness is the source of death. And so you, O king, to increase your virtue, please be aware, please be heedful. One Kajing unche pame churpala chini pada demper churti and dawa tendal tavernam zede gao certain tongden deje shins. One who has formerly been heedless but later becomes heedful. But later become heedful like, I don't know, but later becomes heedful will also be resplendent like the moon free from clouds, as in the case of Nanda, Angulimala, Ajatashatru, and Udayana. Now we have four great characters, four interesting characters to discuss. I will try to remember the stories now. Gao, first one is easy. The brother of the Buddha is Nanda. And Nanda, being so attached to his wife, I think he managed to avoid becoming monk during the great sweep and of the Shakya clan. He was the Shakya clan and he managed to somehow not be a monk. And he found a beautiful, most beautiful woman in the land. And he got married. And he was so enthralled and intoxicated that he barely left his bedroom day and night. He's just he only wants to be with his wife. This was the brother of the Buddha, younger brother. And yes. One day Buddha appears. And so the servants go to him and say he's with his wife, private moment. So servant tells him, oh, Buddha is here. So he thinks I must go because Buddha is not only my older brother, he's the awakened one. I must go to receive him. So the wife doesn't want him to go because she's going to miss him if he goes to see the Buddha in the next room. So but he says, I must go. It's not, this is, And so she spit on his hand and says, you better return before this spit dries. And so he keeps the spit and goes to see the Buddha. And when he enters the room, Buddha looks at him and turns without saying a word or smile or anything, turns and walk away. So Nanda is now in torment. What do I do? His beautiful wife is waiting up there. And this Buddha is walking. So he thought, maybe Buddha, there must be something. So he follows the Buddha. He wants to show me something. So Buddha keeps walking, making sure that Nanda can see him and follow him, but not waiting for him so that he cannot ask Buddha anything. So Nanda kept following the Buddha, and Buddha went straight into his monastery. And Nanda came, and Buddha looked at the monk and said, ordain this man. So, and so Buddha left. Now Nanda is tormented. It is his elder brother. You must do as his elder brother says. And of course, this is the Buddha. And on top of that, how dare you not become monk if the Buddha says, be a monk. So he becomes a monk, but day and night he's thinking about his wife all the time. And he's in pain, he's sad, he cannot eat, but he looks like a monk. And then one day Buddha takes him to heavenly realm, where Buddha basically tells him to hold my robe. So he holds Buddha's robe, and suddenly he's in heavenly realm. Maybe it was a real realm, or maybe Buddha created that to teach him a lesson. I cannot say, but there he looks, Buddha tells him to now go and wander around and come back after some time. And so he goes around and he cannot believe the wealth, the beauty of the land, the beauty of the, even the, and most specifically, the beauty of the ladies there was so sort of magnetizing. He comes back, and most importantly, he's looking into all these beautiful palaces with all the goddesses and gods playing and, singing and dancing and whatever they're doing. So he's completely enthralled. He's in love with everybody. And then he comes to a big, big mansion that is empty, where he asks, who lives here? They say, oh, nobody. It was full of beautiful, beautiful goddesses. See, that's why I think Buddha created it for him. But anyways, all these goddesses says, well, we are waiting for the brother of the Buddha. He's a monk right now. So after he dies, he will be born here. So he becomes so happy. And then he goes to Buddha and says, I will be a good monk from now. And Buddha says, what happened is this. Then he tells Buddha what he saw. And then Buddha says, did you think about your wife at all today? He said, no, my wife, not at all. Why? He says, because compared to these goddesses, my wife is like a monkey. Before taking him, Buddha, when they were on earth, Buddha points to a monkey saying, who is more pretty, your wife or this monkey? And he said, of course, my wife is 100 times more pretty. So now he says, continuing that conversation, he says, compared to these goddesses, my wife is like that monkey. So now he becomes very good monk. See, what does good monk means? He doesn't no sex, no killing, no stealing, no lying, and all the 252 vows he keeps. Then Buddha tells everybody, okay, now I make it shorter. And then one day Buddha takes him again to hell realm, where he sees immense suffering. And most importantly, he sees one place that was burning. And he asks, who is going to be here? And they tell him, oh, the brother of the Buddha, we are waiting for him. He is now a monk, but he is monk for desire. So he will go to heavenly realm and enjoy for a long time. And after that, he is going to come straight into this place. And here he will suffer even 10, 100 times more than he enjoys. And then he goes running to Buddha. He could barely be sane and awake. He was that much terrified. And he finally understands the suffering of samsara. And he becomes a monk and become arhat. So here he says, even someone like Nanda, who initially was so careless, but later become careful, mindful, and then becomes like a moon that was completely covered by clouds before. And Nanda is, in the night sky, when there is giant cloud, the moon is behind the cloud, you do not see the moon, and then suddenly it peaks from one side and it's become so resplendent and bright and beautiful. So like that. And the next is Angulimala. Angulimala, we've talked about Angulimala. Basically, this giant, strong man who was fooled by his teacher into killing 999 people. And when he was about to kill his own mother to finish 100 killing, 1000 killing, as per according to the instruction of his teacher, Buddha stops him and gives him, put some sense into him, and he become a monk. He let go of killing, and not only a monk, but he becomes an arhat. So after killing 999 people, he becomes arhat. Then the next is Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru, uh, he kills his own father. Uh, Ajatashatru means unborn enemy. When he was in his mother's womb, people made prophecy that to his father, saying, "This son will kill you in future." So the father named the child unborn enemy. So that became his name, Ajatashatru. And he did kill his father. He followed Devadatta, Buddha's jealous cousin, and did many terrible things. Finally, he understood the wrongs of Devadatta and he becomes follower of Buddha. Not only that, uh, he gets advices, teachings from Buddha and Manjushri and so on, and he becomes free of samsara. And by the time when Buddha passed away, he was one of the how to say, lay disciple of Buddha, that he had so much love and devotion for Buddha that when they, oh, now it's becoming more and more story. When the great Kasyapa, who became the regent of the Buddha, the next head of Buddha Dharma, basically, uh, told the messenger to write this beautiful, to draw this beautiful painting of Buddha's life, of Buddha's birth, in Lumbini, and become a monk and become Buddha and teaching and all that. And then write Buddha passing away in Kushinagara also. So the king was enjoying this painting, and finally he reaches this last place where Buddha is passed away. Buddha has passed away. So this through this he understands, and he asks the messenger, "Did Buddha pass away?" And said yes, and he still fell unconscious. If he would have been told directly, he would have died. So a man like him, who had killed his own father and done, he tried to kill Buddha too before, and many terrible things, can turn and become such a great benefactor. And he was also the first sponsor of the first council, where after the passing of Buddha, he invited 500 arhats and sponsored them so they can compile all the teachings of the Buddha. So like that. Then the last one is uh, Deje. Deje is Deje Udayana. This is kind of This is a kind of very beautiful story, actually, where this Udayana, what he did was that when he was a young man, he tried to seduce someone else's wife. And then not only that, he managed, and he was sleeping with that woman when the husband was not there. And when his mother tried to stop him, he kills his mother. And that's what he does. And then one day when wait, not only that, I think he also kills an arhat. But anyway, afterwards he regrets become a monk. And after becoming a monk, people find out that he is someone who has killed his own mother. So he is kicked out of the monastery of the Sangha. But by that time, he became one of the most learned monk there. He was such a learned monk and good monk. But anyway, he was kicked out. But then he went somewhere else and began teaching there. And at some point, it is said that there was no greater gathering of monks after Buddha than him, Udayana. He had thousands and thousands of monks. And anyway, so he taught them properly well, and they also gained a result. He himself, after his death, he went to hell realm for such a short period of time, not even the duration of snapping. And then he was born in a, how to say, heavenly realm, where he met the Buddha and received teachings and become free. Anyway, so there are this kind of things. And then I think when he was dying, since he had not received any wisdom in his life, when you kill your mother, father, when you do one of the 5 heinous misdeeds, according to at least the Theravada or the Stravaka tradition, you cannot have wisdom or gain wisdom in this life. But he regretted it tremendously. And he was lamenting to himself. And when his students heard that, they heard great teachings, and that benefited a lot of beings. Anyway, this is a very inspiring story, actually. But the next, did the Sung Katu Machibe, Church Toy Kogam Yemiki, Toa Pangbe, Sirmedobani, Tobrajuruba, Sange Shaji shares. And Dani Diche, Dita Pamberche, Di Tagi Noto Jurtushe, Kundu Zimbe, Tubon Namchete, Kunzin Nampang Devaranichi laws. Since there is no penance, 15th, since there is no penance like patience, you must give anger no opportunity to arise. The Buddha promised that by giving up anger, one will attain the irreversible stage. I was abused by this, bound by this, defeated by this. This one has snatched away my property. Such harboring of resentment produces quarrels. By giving up resentment, one will have peaceful sleep. That's for sure. This is nothing to explain here. So why all of these beings became so great? Even after having done terrible things, they gave up anger. they gave up harming. They practice tolerance and patience. And so he says, you see, there is no greater virtue than patience or tolerance. And patience, the English word patience, I feel like it has the connotation of waiting for something. Patience. I don't know if it's, I'm not a language scholar, so I don't know, but when you hear it, tolerance feels better. But tolerance too sounds like you're not retaliating. That's it. But that's patience and tolerance. Sopa is a bit more than that. But anyway, what it is that not giving opportunity to anger to arise. That's what it is. You're not even angry. So whoever whoever abandon anger will will attain the irreversible state. Irreversible meaning you will not come back to samsara. So how do we do that? He says, your first thing is you need to stop blaming. Whether the blame is valid or not, you need to stop, keep thinking about what someone has done wrong to you. If you think like that, there will be a lot of things to think, because someone will abuse you, someone will bind you, someone will defeat you, someone will snatch something away from you. That's how it is. It happens to everybody in this world. But if you focus on that, it will create more resentments and quarrels for sure. And you yourself will be the victim of it. The biggest victim will be you yourself. You cannot even sleep at night, he says. So Nagarjuna says, give up this resentment and go sleep peacefully. Then Semchen Chudan Sadan Dowala Remotiba Teda Riperchi, Tena Nyamong Chen La Tambuni, Chok the Chudanam La Tamala. Recognize the mind to be like a drawing made on water, on earth or on stone. The first among these is excellent for those possessing the defilements, and the last for those desiring dharma. Then now so the Joe nam the give out the Miguel with 7 temperature we give us 7 temperature Miguel with 7 you the wash our shit about Gosum Gichoba the Choba Chawa the Chawa Maim but Shepherd Chen to Patan Gabo Temple Simjin Jirino Simji Chuba Mitemba the Tembe so it says in within sentient beings there are types of mind that is stable and there's type of mind that is not stable. There are types of mind that is like drawing something drawn on a surface of a water. It immediately disintegrates. There are types of mind that is like or resolve or determination. That is like a drawing drawn on the ground. Seems to stay for a bit much better than the water, but moment someone walks on it, stamps on it, or a wind, a breeze, or something, it could get damaged. But if there is no obstacles, it might stay. And then there are kinds of mind of beings whose mind are like writing on a stone, carving on a stone. So if something is carved on the stone, wind, water, fire, a lot of things cannot destroy it. It's much, much stable. So similarly, yeah, so this is the kind of beings there are in this world, and you should understand them. And amongst them, mind that is full of affliction is like the writing on the water, very difficult. And mind that is very, very stable is like a carving on the stone, is like a mind that is completely intended upon dharma. So basically advising the king to have that kind of mind, like carving on a stone. Jalwening la pabdan demba dan lobarma de chewu namji ne dangzime to bisan tawitsu namsum kasal tele tamapang. The conqueror taught about 3 kinds of speeches possessed by people. So, okay, the first one was mind, and now speech. That are pleasant to hear, pleasant to the heart, truthful and wrong. Such words are like honey, flowers, and filth. Abandon the last of these. So the Buddha has spoken about 3 kinds of speech. First is very sweet talks, that is like honey. The second one is honest, like a beautiful, praiseworthy flower. And the third one is lying or misdirecting, misguiding speech. That is like a filth. So from these 3, you, O king, you should speak beautifully, and you should speak the truth. You should abandon the third one. Then behavior. Okay, I'll just finish this, and then you do question answers if you have. Namsum nang nang tartuk mimbane mimbe tartuk nang min tartuk min nang tartuk kanzane jite teda namje tamburze. This is very beautiful. This is so beautiful. He says there are 4 categories of person. 4 categories of persons are seen who move from light to ultimate light, dark to ultimate dark, light to ultimate dark, and dark to ultimate light. Be the first among these. What is there to say? Explain, So it refers to being born in higher realms, and they're always born in higher realms and finally become Buddha. Those who are born in lower realms and again born in lower realms and almost never free from that. Those who are born in higher realms but goes to lower realms, and or those who are born in lower realms and goes to higher realms. Regardless, O king, you should strive to be the first one. Okay, you have questions, please come forth. Now, yeah, this is actually quite easy part, but anyway. One question is translated here. Verse 8, and the paramita of generosity, taking into account that the perfection of this is obtained or discovered, leaving aside the concept of subject, object, and action. Could it be said that the perfection of generosity is the non-generosity? Not really, no. Perfection of generosity is not non-generosity, because then Anger is also non-generosity. Miserliness is also non-generosity. So that's not a perfection of generosity. So perfection of generosity is definitely the best kind of generosity. It's not non-generosity. That's for sure, yes. What else? Oh, those who are here online and watching later, next month, we are going to start with the Sakchapa Masters in the Stories of Liberation. We have been going through lives of great beings in Tibet for now. We finished the Nyingmapa Masters, 5 Nyingmapa Masters, and 5 sessions on Kadampa Masters. So chronologically, we go like this, and now the Sakchapa Masters. And may be interesting for you since some of you are Sakchapa. Even if you're not Sakchapa, to understand the to hear about masters of other traditions, their practice, their resolve, their realization, their activities. It will how to say, open our mind. It will really make us see that it's the same in all tradition. Any tradition that tells you they're the best is, I'm always suspicious. Except the Nyingmapa, because Nyingmapa is not a tradition. You know, Nyingmapa was basically the entire Tibet. So surely they have things that they can have things that other traditions don't have. But again, if it is it the best, I don't know. It's just, I'm always suspicious. In all traditions, there are teachings that can liberate sentient beings within one life. So what can be more greater than that? And the Sakyapa tradition, we belong to a tradition where Virupa attained 1 bhumi in 1 night, 6 bhumi in 6 nights. It's almost unchallenged. Such a means of attainment. That being said, we'll talk about Sachin Kunga. First, we'll talk about Drogmi Lotsawa, the first session. The second session is Sachin Kunga Nyingpo. Third session is Sakya Pandita. The fourth session is Ngorchen Kunga Zangpo. Fifth session is Sarchen Losar Jatso. So in this way, we cover Sacha, Ngorpa, Tsarpa. Yeah. It will come in March, I think, anyway. Any other questions you have? I didn't understand. Okay.
Hello,
Please
Rinpoche.
raise your hand if you have. Okay. Miria, do you mean you have a question?
Hello, Rinpoche. Could you listen to me? No. Okay.
Lorena, please ask if anyone have question. They should just ask. Okay. All right, then please dedicate the merit. We'll go back to exploring my childhood town, childhood village, and see you again next month.